next, sun damage on a cosmic scale.
There is a hole, nothing there.
And something out there may be watching us.
Why wouldn't an alien culture use spy satellites?
We're completely at the mercy of our sun. We can't control it, we barely understand it, and all life depends on it.
But has our sun turned to the dark side?
What the heck is going on there?
A giant chunk of the sun is missing.
There is a hole, nothing there.
It's as if aliens had scooped the surface.
July 2013. Goddard Space Center, the headquarters of NASA's SOHO Solar Observatory. Its mission, to keep an eye on our fiery star.
The SOHO project is an early warning system about new phenomena which could have an impact here on Earth.
Scientists monitoring the satellite feeds see something extraordinary. A gigantic shadow creeping across the sun. A 500,000-mile-wide hole. As NASA struggles to assess the threat, the dramatic images fuel a storm of speculation.
This was weird. We don't know whether that was artificially induced on the sun.
It's as if aliens had scooped the surface.
Whatever the cause, the results could be catastrophic for us. A dip of even 7% in the sun's output could cast the Earth into another ice age. On NASA's satellite feeds, the strange black void is unmistakable. But outside, the summer sun seems to shine as brightly as ever, while the hole remains invisible to the naked eye.
So here we are on Earth, living our normal lives, and there's a disaster movie going on the sun.
In an effort to explain the hole, scientists turn to a satellite that captures pictures of superhot gases in the sun's atmosphere. Its high-tech cameras see things that humans can't. Things visible only in the ultraviolet spectrum. Suddenly, the hole looks different.
What appears to be an area of dark, empty space, in actual fact, it's filled with gases that are much colder than those that we can see in the area around it.
The giant shadow is really a cold patch in the sun's atmosphere.
When we're talking a cold patch, we're not talking Alaska. It's still 1 million degrees.
Solar scientists call these cooler areas coronal holes.
Coronal holes are places where material can escape and get out into the interplanetary medium.
To the horror of scientists, this coronal hole could be in a perfect position to blast the Earth with solar particles.
This giant coronal hole is spewing charged particles across space. And when the Earth happens to be in the way, you can get a solar storm.
A solar storm can knock out satellites. Electronics won't function properly, and we have occasionally had that happen. That's real. That's not an imaginary concern.
If we got hit, it's really a big deal.
Traveling at 1.5 million miles an hour, the deadly sunbeam will take 58 hours to reach the Earth. When it hits, the first sign should be a spectacular light show at the Aurora Borealis, as the planet's magnetosphere fights to protect us by absorbing the energy of the bombarding particles. July 20th, 2013, 2.5 days after scientists first spotted the hole, the northern sky erupts with flashing colors. Could this be the opening act in a global meltdown? The awesome display lasts for 2 days, then dims. To the scientists' relief, the storm was nothing more than a beautiful light show. It dealt Earth a glancing blow. Next time, we might not be so lucky.
The sun can have quite a temper and can turn into a real potential foe.
Strange as it may seem, there's a lot we don't know about that big orange ball up there.
Humanity's knowledge of physics comforts us when facing the unknown. But in deep space, something appears to be playing by a different set of rules.
We're constantly discovering things that don't fit any of the theories, and then we come up with new theories.
What's going on? We don't know.
A bright object enters Earth's orbit.
Holy cow, this is the most odd thing we've ever seen.
Official explanations don't add up. Then experts begin to think the unthinkable.
Could this be an extraterrestrial probe within our solar system?
Could we be looking at something that's also looking back at us?
We on the edge of mass destruction.
El Centro, California. Amateur astronomer Bill Young is one of a select group of stargazers with a very important task.
Bill Young is an Arizona-based astronomer who's taken it as his mission to watch out for near-Earth objects that could pose a danger to us.
In September 2002, Young spots a bright object in orbit around the Earth, which sets off alarms.
This object became very apparent as something unusual, primarily because of its motion. It was moving very fast and moving in a velocity that's very much like the velocity of the Earth.
It's too big to be a spanner dropped by an astronaut. It's too big to be a satellite. So what is it?
The mysterious object is more than 60 feet across and orbiting close to the Earth. Young immediately reports the sighting to the authorities.
The first thought is, this is an asteroid.
NASA takes the threat of an asteroid impact very seriously.
Asteroids are kind of important because they might occasionally beat the heck out of the surface of the planet.
Asteroids are traveling at about 30 miles per second. That's an incredible velocity. And when you have an object that has mass, that's a lot of kinetic energy.
It's probably what did in the dinosaurs.
But asteroid J002E3 isn't behaving like an asteroid at all. Most asteroids trace a regular orbit around the Sun within the belt between Mars and Jupiter. But this mysterious object doesn't do that.
This thing goes around the Earth, then it shoots off, it goes several times around the Sun, it comes back.
Concerned, NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory joins other scientists in the investigation.
The first question we asked, is it real as a natural object, or is it something different, something that we didn't understand?
They direct the infrared telescope in Hawaii towards the object for a closer look.
As the first set of data came through the pipeline, we took one look at it, and I was like, holy cow! This is the most odd thing we've ever seen. And we pulled up the spectrum, and it was full of paint.
The exotic anomaly has a coating with the same chemical signature as industrial paint.
This object was no natural asteroid. It was unlike anything we'd ever seen before.
It's paint. This can't be an asteroid.
No known natural object is covered in paint. But when NASA checks if any man-made satellites are stationed in that area of space, they draw a blank, raising an alarming possibility.
When you think about it, we use spy satellites, and here's this object orbiting the Earth. Why wouldn't an alien culture use spy satellites?
NASA's Jim Oberg doesn't buy that theory. He supports further investigation of the paint evidence.
The paint is the clue. The paint is the proof.
Detailed analysis of the data reveals the entire surface of this 60-foot object is covered in titanium dioxide, a compound that makes paint white. The color of NASA hardware.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engines running. Commit.
But if this is a part of a rocket, it's in a very strange place.
The question is, how did it get there?
NASA connects the dots and comes up with a plausible explanation.
Based on the orbit and based on the fact this object is covered in paint, we're able to calculate backward and determine that this object is the third stage of the Saturn V rocket that carried astronauts Conrad, Bean, and Gordon to the moon on Apollo 12.
Astronaut Alan Bean remembers what it was like to ride on that Saturn V.
I've been on a lot of vehicles on Earth, in airplanes and all that. I've felt nothing that had the vibration and shaking that the Saturn V had. There's 7.5 million pounds of thrust going on down there, and when it's going, that's the biggest, most powerful engine ever built on Earth.
NASA concludes that the old rocket booster jettisoned en route to the moon somehow found its way back into Earth's orbit.
They just float away, but you don't worry about it.
NASA closes the case. But for some, the theory seems too convenient.
The fact is, we don't know what this thing is. To this day, it remains a mystery.